Have you ever found yourself in that just painful, really confusing situation where a person who is celebrated by literally everyone is also the source of your own private struggle? Well, today we're going to dive right into this very real and honestly very unspoken paradox.
Oh man, how many times have you heard this? You try to share just a little piece of your reality, maybe a moment of pain, and bam, you get hit with this line. It's supposed to be a compliment to them, but it just feels like a complete dismissal of you. A total denial of your truth. I mean, if they're really so wonderful, so beloved by the entire community, why does their public image feel like it's from a completely different planet than your private experience? This is right at the heart of what we're going to explore.
Okay, so let's start by actually breaking down this disconnect. We're going to give this whole experience a name, a structure, and hopefully help you see that what you've been feeling is a real, recognizable pattern.
Let me just say this as clearly as I possibly can, right here at the beginning. Your feelings are valid. What you've perceived is real. That confusion, that hurt you feel, it is absolutely justified, and believe me, so many others have gone through this exact same thing.
So here it is. This is the term for it, the community saint. See, this isn't just a difficult parent. It's a specific kind of archetype. It's someone whose public goodness stands in this really stark, painful contrast to how they act behind closed doors. Just having the language for it is a huge first step.
And this just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you have the person everyone else gets to see, the generous volunteer, the charming neighbor, the rock of the community. And then on the other side, well, there's the person you know, the harsh critic, the one who's emotionally cold or totally unpredictable. Seeing it laid out like this, side by side, it just validates that you really were dealing with two different realities.
So, the big question is, why is that public persona so darn powerful? How can it seem to completely erase your private reality in the eyes of almost everyone else? To get that, we have to look at the mechanics of belief itself.
And it's not just about them being charming or likable. No, as this points out, there's some very real psychological principles at play here that make their public image incredibly strong, almost like a fortress that's impossible for others to question.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because we can actually break down that wall of disbelief. First up, you've got something called the halo effect. This is basically when people see someone doing one good thing, like charity work, and their brain just automatically assumes, oh, they must be a good person in all parts of their life, including at home. Then you have cognitive dissonance. It's really, really uncomfortable for our brains to hold two opposite ideas at once, like this person is a community hero and this person is secretly hurtful. It's easier to doubt you than to rethink everything they thought they knew. And finally, you've got the sheer power of reputation. Once someone builds up that positive rep, it's like a shield. It just deflects anything that doesn't fit.
And this is what it all boils down to. This quote just captures the social math perfectly. It's you, one person, against the shared belief of an entire group. For most people, the path of least resistance is to question you, not their hero.
All right, let's shift gears. We've talked about the outside world's perception. Now let's turn to the most important part of this entire story, your internal world. Let's talk about the impact this has had on you.
And this brings us right to the heart of it. Just because these wounds aren't visible, and just because nobody else is validating them, it does not make the scars any less real. The emotional and psychological toll here is profound, and it is lasting.
First off, there's a deep, penetrating isolation. When you're told over and over again that your reality is wrong, you learn to just keep it to yourself. You end up feeling totally alone inside your own family's story.
And from that isolation grows this corrosive self-doubt. You start to question everything. You know the script. Am I just too sensitive? Did it really happen that way? Maybe I'm the problem. Your own gut feeling becomes a source of anxiety. And of course, there is just this immense confusion, because you might still love this person. You see the good they do out in the world, and you wonder how in the world you're supposed to square that with the pain they cause you. That emotional whiplash is just exhausting. And look, over time, this can lead to some really serious long-term effects. You might find it hard to trust your own judgment in relationships or at work. You might carry around this low-level feeling of just being fundamentally wrong. Or you might carry blame that was never yours to begin with. The point is, these aren't just feelings. They're patterns that can really shape a life.
So with all that on the table, where do we go from here? Well, this final section is about one thing, and one thing only: reclaiming your story.
I want you to let this sink in for a second. Public opinion, awards, what the neighbors think, none of that changes what actually happened behind closed doors. You were there. You are the primary source. You are the expert on your own life. And your story is the only one that holds the complete picture.
And this is the ultimate takeaway. No amount of public praise can ever invalidate or cancel out your private experience. They can both be true at the same time. One does not diminish the other. Your quiet pain is every bit as real as their loud applause.
And so, I'll just leave you with this question. Maybe it's the myth that you were too sensitive, or that it wasn't really that bad. Or maybe it's the myth that everyone else's opinion of your life matters more than your own. Whatever it is for you, just acknowledging your own truth, that's the first step toward building a narrative that is finally, completely yours.